Thank you very much, Ken Workington. Welcome, everybody, to Meadowlands Pace Eve here at the Big M. It is our pleasure to be joined in the Sulky by noted horse owner and breeder, Mr. Myron Bell, the racing manager for Brittany Farms. And Myron was actually in Columbus, Ohio on Monday with the United States Trotting Association for a harness racing summit. I think you were with 40 other industry leaders invited to discuss many of the issues facing our business that we're challenged with. Would you describe the meeting as cordial or contentious, or some of both?
Well, I think by and large it was a very cordial understanding between all the participants. I was honored and privileged to be there, and I think we accomplished a lot.
One of the biggest issues that is facing harness racing is the declining foal crop. We just don't have enough horses to fill races. That leads to lack of entries, and that leads to an inferior betting product. What are some of the potential solutions for that issue?
Well, we need more owners to stimulate breeding more horses. Right now, we have enough horses for the buyers at the major yearling sales. What we need is more people to come to our facility to bet, when they go to a sale, to bid, and 3, to buy horses. And that will stimulate the economy in the horse industry.
And the lack of owners has been an issue for a while, and I honestly believe that we're all to blame, because I've never invited my neighbors to come with me to the Meadowlands. I've never invited my barber, although you can tell he's always pretty busy. But if we just brought some friends and some neighbors and some people that we know through business to the track, and they had a good time here, they might get interested in the sport.
Well, I'll challenge the whole industry. Every owner, trainer, driver should invite at least one person every month to come to the track. Are we ashamed of it? I don't think so. This is a great sport and a great business, and we want more people involved.
And you were actually successful doing that with one of your neighbors in Florida, I believe, a gentleman named Michael Sofer, who actually bred some horses.
Michael was a neighbor of mine in New Jersey, and he moved to Orlando, and he got involved in a few horses with us, and I named a horse after him this year. But everybody could do the same. Just bring friends and they'll have a good experience. And if they don't like it, so they wasted an evening. It's no big deal.
One of the other complaints that we get about harness racing is that we need to market more. There's not enough advertising. There's not enough publicity, that sort of thing. Were there some proposals to fund this marketing project? Because who's kidding who in this New York area? I mean, a television ad is going to cost you at least 5 figures and maybe 6 on the networks.
Well, we've just put together a consortium of about 12 breeders, and we're going to advertise in Sue Finley's Thoroughbred Daily News. And she does a phenomenal job. And we're looking for some crossover, some thoroughbred owners to come in and maybe participate in our sport. After all, we race 3 times as much as any thoroughbred. We want the world to know that.
If we did have a national marketing effort, Myron, how do we fund it? I mean, the slots track obviously have a lot of money. The Meadowlands depends strictly on mutual handle for our business operations and for our purses. How do we go about funding something like that?
Sam, as usual, that's a good question. I wish I had an easy answer, but we have to start somewhere. I think 1% of the funds that are bet in North America, I think harness racing attracts about $1 billion in revenue per year. If we can take 1% of that, which would be approximately $10 million, and channel that to advertising and better our sport, we would do some good.
Well, it certainly can't hurt, that's for sure, and let's hope we can get that off the ground. Last question for you about the summit. You mentioned earlier we not only need owners, we need bettors. We need people to play. How do we go about getting the poker guys and getting the slots people interested in wagering on harness racing? I mean, the chances of winning are actually a lot better.
Well, we have to change you mentioned slots. Slots want easy solutions. You can have a friend of mine, Joe DeScala, who's a partner and owner and a great guy. I think we should have odd even betting for the novice bettor, or somebody that walks in the doors, they can't read the program right away until they get more sophisticated. Let them have a number for the night. Number 1, number 7, number 10. That's their number. They can bet that number in every race. So it gives them a little excitement to get going, and then they'll get a little more sophisticated and hopefully read a program.
Well, certainly can't hurt to try some new things when you get some new people in here, especially at a nice facility like we have here at the Meadowlands. Myron, you're involved with Artspeak, a wonderful colt, 2-year-old Dan Patch champion. He was favored in his Meadowlands Pacey limb last Saturday. Let's take a look at the stretch drive here. Had a 2-hole trip behind In the Arsenal, just backed the fractions way down. But Artspeak did not look like himself to me. He ended up finishing 4th. He made the final, but it's not the Artspeak that we're used to seeing.
Well, I don't want to make excuses for him. He's a very talented colt. I think going to Canada 2 weeks, 2 weeks in Pennsylvania, a week here, that's 5 weeks in a row. It took its toll. Tony backed off on him and gave him a very light week, and I don't even think he trained him. And if he's good, he'll be good. He'll be there. I don't predict a win, but he should be on the board. And we hope he puts in a great performance.
Now, he added Lasix for that elimination. Did he have a bleeding issue, or was it some sickness, or what?
He bled slightly, and he needed the Lasix, but it didn't help him any, it looked like. But hopefully he'll bounce back. A good horse comes back if he's a good horse, and I'm sure he is.
Well, let's take a look at the field for the Crawford Farms Meadowlands Pace tomorrow night here at the Big M. How do you see the race going? Obviously, Wiggle It, Jiggle It, probably the key horse to watch off the wings. What is Montrell Teague going to do? How do you see the race unfolding, and what do you think your chances are?
Well, it's Montrell's horse race to lose. He's by far the best colt out there, and I commend George and Montrell. They got a world champion there, and he's going to be very difficult to beat.
And you have a pretty good starting slot from post 3. That gives Scott Zeron quite a bit of options. We know you have gate speed, and your horse can race however you want.
Well, naturally, everybody wants to sit behind the favorite, but only one horse can. So drivers have to, it's a driver's race. They have to make decisions at the gate or change it.
All right, so it doesn't sound like you give your drivers any instructions. You hand them the lines and say good
never.
luck.
The only instruction you give a driver is none.
There you go. I'm more into the Monday morning quarterbacking after the race instead of before. Myron Bell, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for your time and efforts you're putting into this USTA Summit, and hopefully we can get the sport heading in the right direction. And there's always ways you can tweak and tune and improve, and this is a good first step, I believe.
Thank you for having me, Sam.
Myron Bell in the Sulky, a quick timeout, and the legend Hollywood Hayden and I will tee up tonight's Sire Stakes final. Hang with us.